we show you how to make Portuguese Pastéis de Nata, the insanely delicious custard tarts Bella Baxter eats in the movie Poor Things. Natas truly are so delicious that you won't be able to stop eating them. Add all-purpose flour to a large mixing bowl. Add salt and mix with your fingers. Add water and mix again until incorporated. Now mix with a wooden spoon, or with a mixer if you have one. It will take about 5 minutes with the spoon. Sprinkle a generous amount of flour on the counter. Transfer the dough and flip to cover both sides with flour. Then flatten it to form a rough square. Cover and let rest for 15 minutes. You can make your life easy and buy puff pastry, but the natas are just not the same.
This is the result you get by making your own dough.
Sweet, crunchy, yummy. You can even hear it.
After 15 minutes, cover with flour and slide a wide scraper underneath to push in more flour, which makes it easier to lift. Now gently roll out the dough, adding more flour as you go to prevent sticking. Roll out the dough to form a square of roughly 16 by 16. Don't try to make a perfect square. This is dough, not math. Brush the flour off the dough gently with a very light brush. We used a high-fat, unsalted butter. The butter must be very soft. Add a third of the butter now. Spread it around in little pats over 2/3 of the surface. Smooth it over the surface of the dough as gently as you can. Leave a border of about a 1/2 inch around the outside. With the scraper, push flour under the side with no butter to unstick and lift more easily. Fold the third with no butter over the middle third of your square, like this. It doesn't need to be perfect, but stretch it over as well as you can. Lightly brush off the flour again. Push the flour under again and fold over the remaining third. To unstick, push flour under all the sides with your scraper. Fold inwards to halfway from one side, then fold over again, to make it easier to lift and rotate and open. Natas were created by monks at a monastery in Lisbon, Portugal.
And the monks used the egg whites to starch the clothing.
It was common for the monks to use the leftover egg yolks to make pastries.
Thanks to them, we enjoy natas.
Open and sprinkle more flour, then roll out to 16 by 16 again. Use a knife to pop any air bubbles. Brush off the flour again and add the second third of the butter to 2/3 of the surface of the dough. Gently spread it around, again leaving a 1-inch border at the edge. Repeat the process. Press in the flour with a scraper, fold halfway over, and brush off the flour. Push more flour in with your scraper and fold over again. Then fold into 3 to rotate and unfold. Now we'll do this one last time, I promise. Open, roll out, pop any air bubbles. Brush again and roll out into a 16 by 16 square. This time, place pats of butter all over the dough and spread around, leaving a 1/2-inch border. Trim the edges into a more perfect square. You can use these leftover pieces to make tarts too. Lift the side closest to you with a scraper and tightly roll the dough. If you're finding this video helpful, give us a like and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate your support. Once you've rolled all the way, trim both edges, then cut in half. You can add these to the other remaining pieces to make more tarts. Wrap the pieces separately in plastic wrap. Refrigerate for at least 2 hours, but preferably overnight.
Now it's time to make the custard.
Add sugar to a small pot, followed by water and 2 cinnamon sticks. Peel 4 strips of rind from a lemon and add these to the pot. This will give just a hint of flavor, as you'll only boil the mixture a very short time. Place the pot on high heat. Once the mixture is at a rolling boil, the syrup is ready. Set aside to cool. Separate 6 egg yolks from the whites, like this. Be sure to wash your hands first. In a medium-sized bowl, add flour, then milk. And whisk until all the lumps are dissolved. In another pot, bring milk to a gentle boil. Once boiling, remove and immediately add to the bowl with the flour and milk, whisking while you pour. Pour this mixture into the same pot on medium-low. Whisk while heating until the mixture thickens. Immediately remove once thickened and whisk for another minute. Let cool for 5 minutes, then add the egg yolks. Whisk to combine. Then add the syrup with the cinnamon sticks and lemon rind, then a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Combine and strain into a measuring cup. You won't need to measure anything, but this way it will be easier to pour. Preheat the oven to mega hot. We put ours as high as it goes. This will give the natas that charred look and will make the pastry nice and crispy. Now we'll prepare the pastry shells. The dough has been refrigerated for at least 2 hours, preferably overnight. Cut each of the 2 pieces into 12 small equal pieces. Look, you can see all the buttered layers. These are going to be so good. Grease a shallow muffin tin with butter. When you add the dough pieces, press from the middle outwards and up the sides to form the shells, like this. Carefully pour in the custard, using a spoon to catch any drips. The shells should be almost, but not quite full. Bake for 8 to 9 minutes until nicely charred. Some people like to sprinkle their natas with cinnamon or icing sugar.
But we prefer ours plain.
Oops, our smoke alarm went off. These turned out perfectly. Let the tarts cool down for a few minutes, then, if you can, serve them warm. They're most delicious that way. But of course, they also taste incredible when cooled.
Yum, 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 yum.
It's no wonder the Guardian newspaper included natas in its list of the top 50 things to eat in the world.